Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to go into one of the best drafts environments ever created. It is Omniscience Draft, so we've done this a few times on the channel, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on how the event works, but basically everything that we draft is completely free to cast. That's the general idea, and we're going to be doing it with Core Set 2020. So there's the emblem that we're going to be using for the Omniscience Draft. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into the draft, shall we? 750 gems. Let's do it. Alright, let me turn this thing off because I don't need it. Alright, so the idea in Omniscience Draft is generally to take the free spells. Most things with like activated abilities are not going to do too much. The emblem does give you one of each colour of mana every turn to use activated abilities, but something like Wake Root Elemental is basically just a free 5/5, so we're not too interested in that. As I mentioned, though, we do kind of want card draw, so there's a bit of Fuddle, which draws us a card and gets through the deck. It's very Stormy, the best kind of decks that you can actually make in this format. But there's also a Feral Abomination. Most creatures should look roughly like this in your deck, unless they draw you a card or kill a creature, essentially. So, yeah, I'm between the Abomination and the Befuddle here. I think I might start how I hope to continue the entire draft with a bit of card draw. Things like Abomination will turn up constantly, and card draw's just, it's premium. Let's see. I might miss a few things, by the way. Sometimes I end up focusing on a card and forgetting others. So if you ask me why I haven't included this particular card, it's probably why. But ask away, I suppose. Alright, so yeah, we want to take Bone to Ash, counter target creature spell, draw a card. As I mentioned, like Feral Abominations are going to be in everybody's deck, so this should hit a creature and draw us a card as well, so we're not losing out on any cards. So take a Bone to Ash. Devout Decree is a little bit too situational, although Abomination is black, so it is removal for that creature there. There's also things like Lavakin Brawler can see a little bit of play in this format as well. You don't think you'd see many creatures that are below like 4 toughness, so that's something you got to keep in mind when you're picking removal. Also, Convolute, counter unless its controller pays 4, is completely dead since your opponent has that Omniscience emblem, so they can basically just pay for that. I think I'm just going to take Blade Brand because it draws a card. Simple enough, right? You could also go for the Diviner's Lockbox as well. If you can know the top card of your deck with something, either through a scry or something like that, then you can use it to draw a card, but yeah, it's a little bit hit or miss. Until we've got a way of knowing the top card, I'm just going to pick Blade Brand. So yeah, we've got like Octoprofit, that'd be a way of looking it over. I'm not seeing much card draw. I'm not really seeing any, really. I don't really want to sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. There is Reduced to Ashes, which is decent removal. 5 damage to a creature can hit most things. There are some 7/7 Vorst Claws in this format as well, so that wouldn't get hit. And could pick the Feral Abomination. I think I'll go for the removal over the threats. Threats will come and go as they do. I'll take the Reduced to Ashes. It's not as if it's a bomb, and you've seen how many times this card has appeared in packs as well, so it's really not a high priority pick for me. Pulsar Marassa is kind of like card draw in the later game, but I'm not really too interested in that. Target creature with power 4 or greater on the bottom of its owner's library. So this is removal, pure and simple. Nearly every creature is going to have at least 4 power. Like, you got your Elementals, your Abominations, your Vorst Claws. Those are the 3 big ones, and this hits them all. So it's definitely a consideration. I guess I will take it. Yeah, once it's on the bottom, it's out. Let's do it. Card draw, card draw, card draw. We have another Befuddle, which is nice. Agonizing Siphon is pretty bad because it doesn't really hit many creatures. As I said, minimum 4 damage for your removal. So, yeah, I'm just going to take another Befuddle. Rule of Law. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. It's actually, it's pretty good at forcing your opponent to play fair. But I don't think it really bodes well. I mean, it forces us to play fair as well. which in this format's not really a good idea. I don't really want to build a fair deck and then not draw Rule of Law, and then our opponent plays unfair because I haven't drawn this card. So I'm going to take the Anticipate. This is basically card draw, looks at the top 3, and allows us to pick whichever one we want. So Anticipate's good stuff. Another Blade Brand. So we got lots of card draw, definitely. It's pretty sweet. Lots of card draw, bit of removal, bit of counter interaction. And now we're going to start, since we've got not too much to look at here, probably going to start taking like Abominations and things like that. There's an argument for like Manifold Key to give unblockable to our 5/5s, but yeah, I think if we can combo and draw through our deck enough, would be okay. Alright, in this particular hand, nothing really stands out to me. Duress doesn't really look all that great. I think I'd prefer a Mind Rot, make them discard 2 rather than picking 1 card. So we're going to go with that one. There is a 6-mana uncommon that makes an exile all non-creature spells, which is definitely a powerful effect. For this one, I'm thinking either the Raptor, just as a flyer, or the Lockbox. The Lockbox needs that little bit of setup, though, as I mentioned, so it's a little bit tough to expect it to do what it needs to do, especially with the current setup of our picks. So I might just take the Raptor here. Another Abomination. So skipping out on them has played out quite well for us. I guess I'll just take a Chaplain. It's better than a Prismite. We don't need mana, so yeah, I'm going to put the Chaplain in the sideboard. I do suspect that I won't be running that willingly. Same with the Prismite. And obviously, same with the Plains. If I have to, then I'll go into my sideboard and put cards back into my deck. But I'm not going to intentionally put cards into my deck that I'm really not interested in using. So, you know, I might sideboard out more cards throughout the drafting process, which leaves me at less than 40 cards in my deck. I know I'm going to do that. So, yeah, then I'll go in here and I'll pick from the worst options. That's how I draft most of the time. So we've got a Dungeon Geists, which taps a creature and leaves it tapped, which is kind of nice. Silverback Shaman, though, is a threat that when it dies, draws us a card. So it's a tough call on that one. Yeah, I'm not really sure which one I'd want to pick. There's also Empyrean Eagle. That's not going to do me too much good, I don't think. Unless I went Flying Tribal, which doesn't really sound like a great idea when you're playing like 2/3s and your opponent's playing 5/5s and 7/7s. So maybe it's Silverback Shaman as a 5/4 Trampler. I kind of like Dungeon Geist though, but being on the play with this card isn't too great. You got to play it out without a target or have it mind rotted out of your hand kind of thing. Yeah, I think maybe I want Shaman. Unsummon is useless. It's here for a tempo card, essentially, to force your opponent to spend extra mana, and obviously they're not going to do that in this format, so yeah. Could have a 3/3 that makes a 2/2. And it's the battlefield, you exile a creature card from a graveyard. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. There's potential for that card to be okay. It's just not good in my opener. I think I'll just take a Shaman that draws a card. Okay, another Bone to Ash as our card draw. Another Reduce to Ashes as well. Might be about the only thing of use here. Looks to be. So it's like Reduce to Ashes or Bone to Ash. Very Ash-like. Could increase the odds of Bone to Ash being useful, I suppose, by having extras over removal. We've only got 2 removal sources at the moment, and a lot of Death Touch. Yeah, maybe it's Bone to Ash. I just don't want too many of them in my opener. Like 2 Bone to Ashes and a Feral Abomination's not gonna do me too much good. It might be okay, but I don't know. Let's deal with them as they come down, I guess. Veil of Summer is an interesting one. That's technically kind of card draw, as is like Fairy Miscreant, but we haven't seen any. We're on pick 3, so there's 2 packs that don't have a Miscreant. There's another Befuddle. This does actually protect me from Mind Rot effects. This is target player. I might take a Veil of Summer. In Omniscience draft, everybody is in blue and black. Like Feral Abominations and half the card draw is blue, so this is almost guaranteed to draw me a card, and it also protects me a little bit from removal sources as well as hand disruption, so I think I might just take the Veil of Summer. It's potential kind of 2-for-1 action, you know, our opponent fizzles their spell, we draw a card kind of thing. Well, there is a Fairy Miscreant. So we know in the pack before it there is one. But we do have some guaranteed card draw here. So I'm a little bit more inclined to use that one. Yeah, let's take the Blade Brand. Corpse Knight is an option. Just because it's got the ETB Drain. We could also use the Thief as well. Because we've got so many Blade Brand effects. We can attack knowing we're going to trade off a creature and still use the Blade Brand to draw a card. So I like the Thief, actually. I think that might be the pick here. Yeah, I mean, this is 1 damage to any target, but it's just not, it's not great. I'm going to take the Thief. Repeatable potential card draw is nice. Shock is a horrible card. Don't fall into the trap of using that one. Because it just basically won't ever kill anything. There's Marauder's Axe, don't like that. Each other creature you control, you're not going to have more than 1 or 2 at a time, so this is going to be like a 5 mana, well, a 0 mana 4/4 max. I could just take the Frilled Sea Serpent, I think. The double blue makes it unusable, but it's a 4/6. It's probably something I'm not really going to want to use all that much, though. Elementals. We ain't got any elementals, right? No, not really. I might just take the Frilled Sea Serpent. But it's not the greatest. Diamond Knight. Not very good in a 5-color deck, unfortunately. I could pick blue and be reasonably confident that it'd get big enough. I think I probably want the Unholy Indenture, though. When a creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control, so we can steal one of our opponent's creatures. If they block on my Audacious Thief and I give it Blade Brand, something like that anyway. Got a lot of Death Touch, so, you know, trading's quite nice with the Indenture. There's a Vorst Claw. It's the biggest, I think, one of the biggest, at least, creatures in this format. But there is another Blade Brand. Lots of Blade Brands. So that's a tough one, actually. Card draw or Vorst Claw. I'm really terrible at this kind of thing about knowing how many cards are coming back. I'm not sure if there is going to be a card coming back, but I don't expect it to be Vorst Claw. If there is one or 2 cards coming back, it's probably going to be like Airstrike, Grabber, or Marauder's Axe, something weird like that. Protection from white's not that great. The biggest creatures are black and green. And blue, essentially, so I don't think there is a white creature we really care about in this format. I'm going to take the Vorst Claw. I'm a little bit threat light, I suppose. Another Abomination. I think that's probably what we want here. Could take the Act of Treason. It's kind of like removal. A little bit of end the game kind of thing. Take one of your opponent's Vorst Claws or Abominations, swing with your team instead. Extra 5 points. It's going to be pretty useful as a removal spell in that sense, but I think I'd rather just have another Abomination. Inspired Charge seems minimal when I've got 7/7s and 5/5s, but it is the best card here, so I'm going to take the Inspired Charge. Not blown away by it. There's another Befuddle. I'll take the card draw. We haven't got the most high quality card draw here, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Destroy target creature with flying is probably better than these. Although, obviously, not that great. +2/+2 and can't block. This one taps a creature, but I'm probably not going to use it either. Healer of the Glade. And another Aegis. As I mentioned, I'm just going to put cards in my sideboard if I don't want to use them. At the end, if I do need to use them, I will use them. Uncaged Fury looks pretty fun. Yeah, this looks like it'll win a game or 2. Just give +1/+1 double strike to an unblocked creature. A little bit difficult, I suppose, on non-tramplers, though. But this is like 12 damage on a Silverback Shaman. It's an interesting choice. I'm not feeling the storm with this current build, unfortunately. Lots of card draw, but there's nothing to draw my entire deck and rinse and repeat. The last Omniscience draft I had in M20 actually used the Season of Growth to draw cards whenever you targeted, and then I bounced my creatures with the Portal of Sanctuary, something like that. So nothing quite to the quality of that particular game, but it's alright. I guess I'm taking another Abomination, maybe another Shaman. It's more card draw. Discard a card, draw a card. Activate this only if it's attacking. Meh. Yeah, I think I'll just take another Silverback Shaman. Come on, good cards. Ooh, Moldavine Reclamation, but also Winged Words. Okay, so that's kind of an engine piece, but we don't have any way of killing our own creatures necessarily, and they're all big stuff, so we don't really want them to die ideally. Winged Words is just guaranteed draw 2, though. It's pretty much the best card in the entire format, so I don't think you really ever turn up a Winged Words unless, like, there is a mythic or rare here that wins you the game on the spot. So we're going to take that. Protection from red's not going to do me too much good. Does me a little bit. There's a 5/4 elemental. But it's not that amazing. Neither is this pack, though. Guess we're going with Angelic Gift. Turn one of my 5/5s or 7/7s into a flyer and draw a card. That looks to be the pick. I might have passed a few of these up, forgetting this had draw a card on it, by the way. Just saying. Another Audacious Thief. Looking like that might be the pick here. Where is the +2/+2 and lifelink? I might have taken that if it said flying instead of lifelink. The bounce on 3 creatures, not good. Especially if they've got ETBs, like Octoprofit. I'm just going to take the Audacious Thief again. There's another Angelic Gift to draw a card. Sleep Paralysis. Could actually use that as a bit of removal, honestly. Yeah, that might be the pick here. Let's take that one. Eternal Isolation, more removal. Yeah, I don't think we've got the elemental synergy for a brawler. And there is a Sage Rose Denizen. Whenever a blue creature enters the battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. There is like you can get the 7 mana return 2 instants to your hand creature, and one of them is like unsummon, and then you replay to get that unsummon back, so you can keep infinite comboing essentially with a Sage Rose Denizen. But we haven't found really any of those pieces, so I'm just going to go with like an Eternal Isolation, I think, here, and more removal is just fine for me. Another Mind Rot, I think, is probably a good pick. You don't really want to go above 2 Mind Rots, really. 3 at a push. Mostly because if you draw one after your opponent's got no cards in hand, it's a dead card for you as well. You've basically not drawn a card. There is a Keldun Raider to discard a card and draw a card. It's one of the few low-powered and toughness creatures that I would consider taking. We also have a Menace 6/5 here as well. Double block with Blade Brand's nice. Yeah, it might be the pick. Obviously, Angelic Gift here as well for a bit of flying. Never too bad. But any excuse to not have to put in, like, Daybreak Chaplain or Prismites as my creatures. Probably want to take those. We haven't seen any growth cycles, so I'm not really confident that that's something that I want to pick. Yeah, I'm just going to take another Predator for extra value. Another Angelic Gift, I guess. How many Abominations? 4 Abominations if I take this one. I don't think so. I think that's probably not a great idea. Let's go with a gift. All flyers, all day, every day. Destroy a land. Seems good. Choose a permanent that was put into your battlefield this turn, return it to your hands. Not really. It's probably another Glaring Aegis. pretty bad cards. Probably don't want to run any of these. I guess it's Ferocious Pup for the 2 bodies. I'm going to put it in the sideboard for now, though. Another Plummet, potentially. And a Lockbox. I could RNG my way to victory with a Lockbox. I mean, we do have a lot of 3s in our deck, so, you know, my odds are probably a little bit better than most to actually get the right call on that one. And if I probably do successfully hit that call, we probably win the game. Just on the card draw alone. It is a little bit risky, though. And our opponent gets to know what's on top of our deck at all times. You can only do this as a sorcery as well, so they get to prep for it. It's a weird one. Certainly a weird one. I might pick it, though. I don't really see more than 1 Plummet being a good idea, and we've got one in the sideboard, so let's take the Lockbox. Draw a card. Disenchant for the sideboard, and Stone Golem for the sideboard. Alright, how many cards did we get up to? 35, so 5 of these cards have to go back into the deck. Alright, well, we're going to pick, I think, a Plummet, and a Ferocious Pup for the best blocks. 2 Glaring Aegis for the tap creature, I guess. And yeah, you see this is where I have to put a very low quality card into my deck. I guess it's going to be the Disenchant, since there are a few auras in this deck. There's probably a few in my opponent's as well. Yeah, it's better than a 4/4, I think. This doesn't trade with enough. Take the Disenchant, and that's our 40 cards. Alright guys, well, without further ado, let's stick some sleeves on our beautiful deck. Let's go with, I don't use this one enough. Yeah! Let's go with that sleeve. Yep, let's see how we do. So we paid $750 into this draft. So to go infinite, we need to get 6 wins. About even is probably 4 or 5 though. If you're counting the cards that we actually have drafted. Probably closer to 5 though, because we didn't really pick any rares. So yeah, that's probably... We need to go 5 and 3 minimum. So if I get that far, I'll be happy with this draft. So without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. And I'll see you there. Alright, we're in. And it's not a really good hand, honestly. We can lock down our opponent's creature, but mulliganing in this format is like losing, so we're going to keep this 3. And see if our opponent can win. This is the format of turn 1 victories, so... We'll have to see. Mind Rot, lose half your cards. Yeah. Let's go with... I think I want to keep the Sleep Paralysis. So I can lock down a creature. Yeah, definitely don't want them having a Dragon Mage. Hopefully they don't have an Active Treason to give it haste. Well, there's a Reduce to Ashes, so we can kill that right away. Alright, well... Let's get interacting with our opponent. They don't have a negate in hand, so that's good. No Dragon Mage. Fathom Fleet Cutthroat. What does this thing do? Destroy target creature an opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. Yeah, pretty useless. Alright, so we can Blade Brand the Cutthroat, I suppose. Just a way of drawing a card. Yep, it can have Death Touch. I'm not attacking. And there we go. We got a Silverback Shaman. Bigger than our opponent's thing, so we're kind of pushing through the Mind Rot. You don't do that very often. Alright, there's a Predator, and that's a perfect target for Sleep Paralysis. Ooh, flying and drawing a card, very nice. Alright, so let's lock down the Predator. Taps it, keeps it tapped. Disenchant's the only thing that's stopping that. Flying on the Shaman, if they kill the Shaman, then we actually get to draw a card as well, so... It's pretty good there. And start swinging for 5. We got this Isolation. It's for power 4 or greater. So the next big thing they play is going to go to the bottom of their deck, hopefully. They do have 2 cards in hand, so we've got to dodge a lot of other things. Unholy Indenture on the Cutthroat. Alright. Feral Abomination. Alright, so the problem with the Cutthroat is that we can't really block it, because if we do, the creature that blocks it took damage, the Cutthroat comes back, and kills whatever blocked it. So, you know, we're going to play the Abomination, but we're not going to be blocking, we're going to be attacking. I imagine our opponent's not going to be attacking with a Cutthroat either, since they obviously can't really push through, and a Gotcha's not going to save them here. They really need a big creature. I mean, they could... I mean, something as simple as a Rabid Bite to go... oh, sorry, not a Rabid Bite. Anything like a Fight spell to kill the Cutthroat is good enough. If they can give it Blade Brand and Death Touch, then Rabid Bites are pretty sick. He's eyeing my creatures like he's got an answer to one of them. Definitely wants to kill the Shaman, though, if there is an answer. Bone Splinters, kill my Shaman. Alright, draw a card. Ooh, Bone to Ash. That's a good one, potentially. We can't really attack, and neither can our opponent. It's a Befuddle. I think I might hold this Befuddle for the time being. Build up a nice collection of cards. Yep, that's getting Bone to Ashed. Card in their hand, still not a negate. Ooh, and a Vorse Claw. Alright, so this might be the time to actually go with the attack. Cutthroat comes back, and then we just play a Vorse Claw that's bigger. Yeah, our opponent's had enough. I think maybe me taking my time to commentate is maybe triggering them a little bit, but I was not expecting to actually win after a Mind Rot there, but we definitely kept the right card anyway for the situation. Played it nice and calm, and just outvalued our opponent. Let's go for another game. Alrighty then, we're in. And the Aegis isn't looking too good here. It's one of those cards that I didn't really want to add to my deck, but here it is. The rest of the hand, though, seems perfectly fine. We got a 5/5 and removal for their 5/5. So, not too bad. Stone Golem, strictly worse than my Abomination. Alright, let's see if they have a Bone to Ash. Not so fast. They don't. Alright, well, not going to use this Isolation until next turn. I don't really need to push anything out of the way. Abomination. See, that Eternal Isolation is good on that creature instead. Aegis is good on the next one they play if they really want to go and do something like that. Act of Treason to deal a little bit of minute damage. Blade Brand, draw a card, sure. Give Death Touch to the Death Toucher. And, yep, just swing for a little bit. Okay. Well, we're on 11. See if they can kill my creature somehow. Don't know how they could. I mean, there's like Bone Splinters, but they have to target... I think they have to target a creature an opponent controls to Bone Splinters. And, I mean, they... Oh, Blood for Bones. Okay. Sack with no target. Nice. Alright, well, we're on the clock. We could go for... Well, we're definitely going to go for an Eternal Isolation on the Abomination, because we just can't afford to take damage right now. So let's put that on the bottom. And I think this is where we want a threat, so we're going to use the Blade Brand to draw cards. Winged Words to draw 2, and there's our threat. Okay. Boom. I'm going to stick an Aegis, I think, on the Silverback Shaman for the extra power, but also for the ability to block Stone Golem, rather than use the Isolation on it. Use the Isolation if this is a bigger creature, essentially. Oh my god, Act of Treason. Alright, we're at 1. We got a creature back. We need to draw a card. Well, we're all in, essentially. Draw a card. Ripscale Predator. If they've got another Act of Treason, then they've got us. I'm going to have to put the Stone Golem on the bottom just in case they have removal. Kind of forced into that situation, but we get to attack for 6. Next turn, we get to attack for 13. So 1 point off the top is going to be potentially enough. Oh, the wand. That is a tilt right there. Oh my goodness. And that is Omniscience Draft in a nutshell. Don't run that card. Maybe if you've got Disenchants in your deck and you can consistently draw it, but when does that happen? That's why I love this format, don't get me wrong, where weirdly unplayable cards just suddenly win you the game when they absolutely shouldn't. But here we are, 1-1. Let's go for another game. Alright then, let's have a look-see. We've got Ripscale Predator, the ability to give it Flying and Menace, which is pretty cool. And a Disenchant, which is potentially useful. Let's go with the Predator, and... If I give it Flying, I've got an opportunity to... Yeah, I should probably use this. An opportunity to draw a card. Ooh, might be good. Veil of Summer. Can get rid of a Mind Rot if that's something that's in their hand, essentially. Silverback Shaman, okay. Well, we got more power on board so far, but now we don't. Okay. Deals damage. Yeah, so let's just have Hexproof from black. They played a black card, so we get Hexproof. And we draw a card. They can't Mind Rot us here, but I don't think they were going to. And yep, let's pass it up. Reduce to Ashes is not too bad. Exiles the Silverback Shaman, so it doesn't actually draw them a card. So let's get in with the Predator. Let's use Reduce to Ashes first, because I think the opportunity for a Bone to Ash is more likely than a negate. So we don't want to enable the card draw potentially into a negate at that point. And then let's put a 5/4 down to block the Scourger. Lots of trampling. Heart Piercer Bow. Yeah, that's not going to do too much. Let's do it to creatures. It does. Alright, equips. But guess what? We got a Disenchant. Let's not mess with that. Basically, you can put a point on the Silverback Shaman, so this 3/3 can get in through my Silverback Shaman. I don't really want them to do that. Interesting. Well, I'm not going to block. That looks like a Blade Brand to me, honestly. Blade Brand on dealing 1 damage to a creature is pretty bad. Aerial Assault, okay. Yeah, but we know they've got a Blade Brand in hand now. Diviner's Lockbox. Alright, well, we're going to play it. And we're going to start guessing. There could be a Glaring Aegis or a Befuddle. Let's name Befuddle off the top of our deck. So Winged Words, which is a really good top deck, actually. So I'm not too upset that we whiffed there. Yeah, basically, we're going to name the 3s in our deck. If I didn't have this tracker, I would have just written them down anyway, so it's not as if it's giving me an advantage. Fathom 3, Cutthroat. Oh, they didn't have a... Interesting. They did not have a Blade Brand in their hand, so I was baited last turn. Okay, well, let's go with a naming Blade Brand, I guess. It's Ferocious Pup. Alright, well, Winged Words. And do we swing in here? They know 1 card in my hand. It doesn't seem like a great swing, honestly. I get to draw a card, but if I go this route, instead I get to just stonewall them. It's a weird one. I don't think I'm gonna attack. If I get a Blade Brand, then Death Touch only has to apply 1 of this 5 damage to each creature that blocks it. Zephyr Charge for flying, okay. That creature gains flying. Taken 3. We get Angelic Gift for some flying and card draw. Okay. So I'm going to name Blade Brand. Blade Brand. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so now we basically win, and that's kind of why Diviner's Lockbox is pretty good. Let's go with Angelic Gift here. Draw a card, give it flying, so it goes right over the Cutthroats. Not technically, because they have the Zephyr's Charge, of course. But I literally have nothing to worry about now. I've just got too much card advantage. Name one of your 3s and you're all good. Alright, good game. I think they've had enough. Yeah. Give this 0 power, kill the other one, start swinging, Blade Brand if they block the Trampler for extra damage, and that's just going to be game. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Alright. 3 and 2. 3 and 1, sorry. 3 and 1. 2 and 1. Alright, let's go for another game. Alright, on the draw with a Mind Draw isn't always that great, but I mean, I'm not mulling, so never mull in this format. I don't think there's ever really a good opportunity to do that. Alright, well, they got me with a Mind Draw. I'm going to get rid of the Glaring Aegis because it's a throwaway card. Probably a Blade Brand. The problem is if they empty their hands, then this Mind Draw is terrible, which is why you don't really want it. I'm going to dump it. I imagine these are 2 creatures. Or at least cantrips that get them into creatures. A Soul Mender. Okay. That's not a card I expected to see, but sure. Alright, well, this is not great. Let's give this Death Touch so we can hopefully get a threat going. Bone to Ash is a good answer, actually. Really, obviously, don't care about Soul Mender. And if you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. I mean, might as well. I don't think this is a creature spell, so it must be a counter. Or disenchant kind of thing. Something potentially not useful. So I think that Epicure was their top deck. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're holding. Maybe it's actually a Bone to Ash of their own. Makes me wonder if I should even play this Ferocious Pup. I don't really have an answer to Bone to Ash, to be honest, so I guess I'm going to have to play it. Could be removal. Yeah. I can't play around it, so I might as well play into it, really, so... Yep, let's let them gain 1 life. It's probably one of the slowest of the matches. Audacious Thief. I am unsure what that card is. It has to be like a disenchant. Has to be something like that. Okay, so let's go with Feral Abomination. Since we know it's not a Bone to Ash. Maybe it's just not... It was a Bone to Ash. We just didn't give them a good enough reason to use it. Alright. Let's then go with... I mean... Yeah, I'm going to have to give this to the Wolf token. Because I need to be able to block the Thief. Tap, tap, taparoo. And... yeah, I'm going to have to give it flying as well. Veil of Summer. Okay. Well, we got a 3/5. Audacious Thief is a redraw. Colorless. Only gives +2 power on the Marauder's Axe. And there's Epicure of Blood. Alright, so we can get a redraw on our Veil of Summer. We're not really gonna get too much more value out of that card. Brute Scale Predator's not bad, though. Alright, so they gain 1 life, they trigger us. Nice combo. It is what it is, I suppose. I'm going to trade my Thief with your my Wolf with your Thief. Happily. Easiest trade of my life. Alright, well, it's Predator Vorse Claw time then. You didn't want to block my 3/5? Fine. Now your attacks are even worse. So, yeah, what are you going to do now? None of their double blocks against the Predator are particularly good here. Alright, this looks maybe like a Blade Brand. I think I'm still going to block, though. The thing is, do I want to block with a Menacer or a 7/7? If I can just give this flying, then that's evasion enough. So I think I'm just going to block with the Predator. Could have the Cutthroat, kills damaged creatures. It's another Audacious Thief. Maybe they just wanted a redraw. Interesting plays from our opponent. They're throwing me off. Okay. Predator, fortunately, though. Oh. Oh, that's nice. Swing, swing, swing. See if we can get like a double block here. Befuddle would be a nice blowout. Cool. Alright. -4, -0 to you. It doesn't really matter which one. Oosh. And a 5/5. Outplayed, my friend. Aerial Assault killed Vorsclaw. Sure. And scoops it up. Ziltoid. Where's that from? I can hear it in my head. Ziltoid! Oh, I think it's off of a video games TV show, isn't it? Something weird like that. You know, like Max Payne used to have a TV show. Ziltoid. Oh, that's going to bug me. Anyone in chat know where Ziltoid comes from? The GTA? Maybe a GTA show? I don't know. Opponent's name is going to hurt my brain. Anyway, let's go for another game. I think we're now 3-1, right? 3-1? Yeah, 3-1. Sweet. Next game. Okay, we're in Vorsclaw, Reduced to Ashes, and Glaring Aegis. Not a terrible hand. This card is repeatedly disappointing me, though. Ugh. But it does make my creatures bigger than theirs, and obviously there is only like 3 creatures in this entire format. So, you know, it is a thing. Right, let's see what our opponent's got. We've got removal for any 5/5s they might put out, like Abominations and whatnot. And if they've got Vorsclaws, Aegis makes ours bigger than theirs. So, yeah, let's pass it up. I'm going to hold this Aegis until maybe they have something that I need to push through. Certainly not going to use, like, double Reduced to Ashes to kill a Vorsclaw. Ooh, and starts with an Anticipate. We could die to a combo. There's a Feral Abomination. Got the answer to that. Meteor Golem. No! Good draw. And a Ripscale Predator. Yeah, I think we lose now. Alright, well, I'm going to go with the 5 damage to the Menacer, because obviously that has the most power, and it's the least likely to get blocked. Don't really want to gift up any of their creatures, so we're going to pass. Silverback Shaman. Alright, that's not too bad. Unless we get Bone to Ashed, and then it's really bad. Alright, let's draw a card. I think I'm going to put Glaring Aegis on the Silverback Shaman to put it out of range of Reduced to Ashes. And then we've got 2 creatures that do that. It's not going to get blocked anyway, so... yeah, we've got the Shaman to at least block the Meteor Golem. Okay, let's see what happens here. Moldavine Reclamation is very bad for us, unfortunately. That encourages them to get in with their Meteor Golem. Not going to do it, though. Interesting. No blocks. Don't have to block just yet. Blocking is just giving them card advantage for their turn. We don't want to do that. Ooh, Blade Brand. That's a tough call, actually, on whether that's a good idea. I guess I'm going to use Blade Brand on my Serpent to block their Abomination. So let's get him for 6. This is unfortunately with a Reclamation going to give them card advantage as well. Befuddle. Alright. Prevent some of the damage. I get you. Alright, well, let's see if we can trade off an Abomination. It's not really a trade, though. As such, with that Reclamation around. Hopefully we get a Disenchant soon. Hasting 1-2, which will almost certainly never get anything good. Heart Pierce a bow. Oh, God. Yeah, that's enough. Is it the bow that deals the damage? Oh, it's the bow that deals the damage, actually, so death-touching creatures being assigned isn't actually that bad. I thought it was worse than it was. It's not that bad. Let's just make sure I'm right about that. Yep, still alive. I think one game I actually mentioned that would be a very bad idea. So I'm sure the comments section's already lit up about that. Ripscale Predator, and that's probably going to be game. Alright, well, we got the Mind Rot to start things off if they got a counterspell. Reduced Ashes, okay. Anticipate. Inspired Charge, they're on 19, so we just got a Ferocious Pup. We're taking too much damage, though, by the looks of things. We got a double block on the Ripscale Predator at the very least, though. And we can chomp the Meteor Golem, but the problem is that every creature that dies on their side just gives them more cards. It really is too much. They also get to kill the Ferocious Pup with the Heart Piercer Bow as well. Yeah. It's like a quadruple whammy of bad things for us. So, yeah, guaranteed to take 6 here. 4 minimum. GG. Oh, good lord, this hand's very bad. Every time these Glaring Aegis have been in my hand. Every freaking time. At least we got a Bone to Ash. We're gonna keep it. We just can't do anything on our turn, though. So basically, our opponent gets to draw a card and be on the play. Audacious Thief as card draw. I'm not gonna allow that. I'd rather have a big dude on the opposite side. Wow, this hand. These have been a consistent disappointment that I really didn't want in my deck. Zephyr's Charge, that's terrible. Okay. Feral Abomination, you got a... No Blade Brand of their own. Okay. Not Blade Brand, sorry. No Bone to Ash. Alright, we'll pass. Keep these until the last minute. They might be actually useful. Oh boy. That has to probably die. Since this can deal 1 damage... No, never mind. I don't have to worry about that. Okay. If it dies, it comes back. Sure. I was thinking, oh, if this deals damage to creatures, we're in trouble if they Blade Brand it. Not going to happen, though. That's a good draw. Alright, that means we can go through the Scorch Bitter and get that Unholy Indenture off of it. So they get their free block. I assume that's why they put that thing on it in the first place. Good stuff. Comes back, does nothing. Yep, it's a 2-2. I've got a 7-7. And we're going to pass. So I remembered what Ziltoid was. It's from, I remember hearing it in a song by Devon Townsend. That's where I know it from. Which I think he does, I think he's done plays or something like that, so maybe it's a character from that. I can't begin to pretend I know the exact specifics of who Ziltoid is, because I honestly don't know. I only have a little bit of a knowledge of Devon Townsend. He's on some of my music playlists for streams. Alright, gets in for 2, effectively 3. Cool. This might be the turn, actually, where we try to overwhelm our opponent since they've got kind of an underwhelming board here. So I'm going to use this Befuddle to just not take damage. Hopefully to draw into more 5/5s and 7/7s, essentially. Take nothing. And pass. Alright. So we've drawn lots of Blade Brands. I think the only card that's still a 3 of is Angelic Gift. So we're going to name that with our lockbox. Also gives flying, which is nice. Angelic Gift. It's a mind rot. Empty your hands, opponent, soon. Okay, well, we're gonna empty their hand now. So we're gonna Blade Brand to draw that mind rot. That should do it. That's overwhelming card advantage right there. Might have a counter spell. Still a 1-for-1. I'm happy with that. God's Willing. Okay. Oh. You're gonna give it protection from black or green, presumably, and then I'll just Aegis it out the way. Yep, green. It ain't white. And the card in their hand is targeted removal. Conditional removal at that as well. Alright, so let's give this a little bit more power. And bootiness. Tap down their knight. And I'm wondering whether or not we actually Blade Brand just to redraw here. It's not really gonna make too much of a difference. I should have probably done it pre-combat. Had I decided earlier, since I could get the Inspired Charge for an extra like 4 points of damage. Wouldn't have threatened lethal or anything like that, but it would have been enough to probably make this Aegis lethal the turn after next. But yeah, we did okay. Not too bad. Going on a little bit further. I think we're closing in on the section. Yeah, we're getting to about the 5-win slot here. If we win, then I go about even. If we lose, then I'm still happy with a 450. I mean, I got to play Omniscience draft after all, so can't be too unhappy about that. Never expected that to be free, but here we go. Final game, potentially? Optimistic that it's not? Let's go. Alrighty then. Possibly the best hand that we've ever seen from this deck. So we're going to take this. Hopefully we don't get mind rotted. And hopefully they've got something for this disenchant. Like a Leyline of Anticipation. Might be a good option, I suppose. Opponent's just going to play on our turn. Which can be pretty good. Gives those like Eternal Isolation level cards the ability to really get us. And they can flash in Abominations. So I'm going to get rid of this card. It's not great if you don't have cards in your hand, of course, but I don't like the idea that my opponent can get rid of all of my cards. Let's put a creature in our hands. We're going to go with... I kind of want the Audacious Thief for the card advantage. The Abomination's clearly the bigger, better creature, though. It's going to be Thief. Alright, so we lose the Befuddle. Alright, Graveyard goes. Not relevant. So I guess they were trying to, yeah, they have a stop on our draw step, so they were going to see if I would have drawn a card there, they would have gotten a Plummet as well, if I hadn't gotten rid of the Leyline. So, a lucky call there. So we're hoping that our opponent has no creatures or removal. So far, so good. Kaikar. We've got a Plummet. And 1 Spirit isn't that bad. Alright, get rid of Kaikar. That is a perfectly timed Kaikar. Gets rid of an aura. Only puts a 1-1 in the way. So we can run right through that. Not great removal spells for a Spirit, but we don't really care about the Spirit. We just care about anything that gets in the way of this Thief now. I will absolutely reduce that to ashes, given the chance. And the chance I have been given. So let's do it. I'm not trading off my Thief for their Thief if I don't have to. Mind Rot is a dead card. That's why you don't want them in the late game. Yeah, I think I'm keeping the Blade Brand in case I don't have an opportunity to isolation whatever my opponent's got here. Give Death Touch for the Thief for one last swing and a trade-off, I think is a good idea. But our opponent has had enough. Probably drawn a land. Flooded out. That's how it works, right? And we are 5-2. So as far as I'm concerned, we've gone even. Anything after this is pure upside, actually. So pretty good. Not the stormy deck that I usually try to get with this particular one, but honestly, we've valued quite nicely. Yeah, let's go for another game. Hopefully not the last. Optimistic? Okay. We have Mind Rot Protection, but that is about all this hand will do. We can stick an Indenture on one of our opponent's creatures, I suppose, but most of our removal is not death kind of removal. It's exile or bottom of the deck kind of thing, so this isn't really useful for that. Gotta keep the hand, though. Hopefully we dodge a Mind Rot. Hopefully they have a Mind Rot. I think they just mulled. Yeah, they just mulliganed. Alright, well, pass the turn. Please Mind Rot me. Keldon Raider. Okay. So we're looking for black or blue spells here. If we see one, we're going to use our Veil of Summer. Now there's a blue one. So we have the guaranteed Veil of Summer. But we're going to wait until the end step just in case they have something available in those two cards. Atemsis. Excuse me? Okay. Well, let's get a redraw. I need something good. Blade Brand is at least a redraw. Yeah, we're gonna have to start taking some redraws. Draw a card. It's a Befuddle. Okay. Let's keep going. Reduce to Ashes. I think I'll get rid of this. Draw 2 discards. It's not really what I had in mind for my opponent's turn. We'll use the Befuddle as a combat trick to stop the Keldon Raider from actually dealing any damage. Eternal Isolation, not too bad there. Get rid of that Vorse Claw. Lovely timing. Alright, so dump the Vorse Claw to the bottom of your deck. Probably don't have to see that for a very long time. We got some draws here on our Angelic Gifts, but I'm not too interested in putting them on my opponent's creatures. Season of Growth. That's a card I wish I had. Oh boy. Oh boy. The Threefer. If they even have one creature removal spell in their hand as well, this is a this is a blowout. Alright, well, at the very least, Silverback Shaman, when it dies, is going to do us some good. Let's stick the Indenture on it first, since these are card draw spells, and we want them to resolve. At least when the Shaman dies now, we get to do some good. That's definitely a good card. Get rid of Season of Growth. Auras are very strong in this format, so I don't want any scries on their creatures, and I certainly don't want them Angelic Gifting and drawing 2 cards, so get rid of that right now. The question is, do I want to keep using the Angelic Gifts on the Silverback Shaman? I'm not entirely sure that I do, although a Mind Rot off the top is going to be pretty grim, and this is my opportunity to actually put more threats on board. I'm going to use 1 to get a redraw here. And hope for a creature. A Plummet. That's not great. Yeah, I don't really want to get Mind Rotted, but I'm losing value by using all the Angelic Gifts on the Shaman. Especially if they've got like a Reduce to Ashes, Captivating Gaia, bounce the Silverback. Yeah. So, kept 1 in hand. Now I get to, hopefully anyway, replay it and give it flying again. Opponent gets rid of a Natural End. Okay. And, well, that's worrying. If they've got the combo, we're in trouble. So we're going to play the Silverback Shaman they know about. Since it has Trample, I'm probably going to give the Abomination flying instead. Draw a card. Another Silverback Shaman. Not too bad, actually. Not too bad. Pass the turn. So, clock is on our side. Flyers, beware. There's a Plummet in your future. Ew. Where are they going to go? Silverback Shaman? Was not expecting that. Thank you for the draw. Glaring Aegis is, it's fine, I guess. Extra power on a trampler as well as toughness to push through a little bit better. That screams Blade Brand. I think I'm trading. I think no matter which creature I'm blocking with, there's a trade involved. Mind Rot, if you don't play that card, is good. Otherwise, it's pretty terrible. The value on my block there was highly motivated by the potential of a good card off the top. So let's get that Mind Rot. Destroys an artifact or 3 damage to a creature with flying. Good stuff. And I think this is where we close out the game. Got another Abomination. Swing in for 5. I'm going to use the Aegis as a tap effect to push through extra damage either next turn or the turn after. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Victory. And that is us effectively making money on this particular event at 850. Can we get the 950? Whatever happens, this is going to be the last game. I hope you guys have enjoyed this run. It has been an absolute doozy. So let's get into it, see how this one's going to end. On a high note, it'll always end on a high note. But on a slightly lower high note, we'll have to see. Let's go for the final game. Alright, that's actually a pretty good hand and it bodes well for this game. However, I will not hold my breath, just in case that was a Mind Rot. Winged Words. Alright, it could still be a Mind Rot. It's a really good start for our opponent, at least. We've got an Anticipate to keep going. So, probably at the 7 win bracket, which is where we're at right now, I expect the most chance of our opponent winning on turn 1. And, yeah, the sheer amount of card draw that our opponent's showing us here says to me that they have plenty enough. Alright, so we've got a Ripscale Predator. Hopefully not getting boned to ashed. Looks like it is. Ew. Alright, well, I'm gonna hold my cards, I think. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Good runnings for our opponent. I don't even know what this card does. When it dies, put a counter on a creature. Alright. But yeah, they've just got an Audacious Thief and they've drawn 2 cards. If that isn't a win, I don't know what is. Shaman. Give it flying, hopefully, and then we get to plummet it. You get to draw a card as well. Yeah, the 7 win bracket is usually where the most draw a card effects can be found. We've kind of got there on good value, though, which is surprising. Alright, got a Raptor. I can reanimate that as a 3-2, as well as having first strike on this one. We got a little bit of protection from Meteor Golem, but that's really about it, to be honest. I think I have to Angelic Gift the Raptor here in order to get another blocker down. I think that's really how this one's going to go. Need to draw a blocker. Blade Brand. It's good on a first striker. Yeah, let's pass. Got a Bone to Ash so that the board doesn't get any worse than it already is. Octa Profit, yeah. I'll just take my opportunity while I still can. They could follow it with a Vorse Claw or something like that. Ooh, an Audacious Thief of my own. But I think the Scry is also pretty powerful. Alright, so there's the swing. Gonna let them draw, and then we're gonna go to blockers before we Blade Brand, so that at least we've done that. There's too much card advantage for our opponent, though. We can't come back from this. Give Death Touch to my first striker. Draw a card, hopefully. I imagine they've maybe drawn removal, though most of it's not instant speed in this format. Not any of the good stuff, anyway. Yeah, Befuddle, so it doesn't deal any damage. And that's game. Womp womp. But yeah, as I mentioned, like, you can't be too upset with a run like this. We've gone even. And we've actually done better in even. We've actually profited from this format, but I don't think our deck was even remotely good enough to beat what our opponents got on most of the 7 win bracket. I'm surprised we got this far, actually. These glaring Aegis have severely disappointed me at every turn. We're going to need a really, really good draw here, and I think we've already had the best draws. Winged Words is definitely the best draw. Disenchant, removal for Stone Golem. But, yeah, we've only got 2 blockers to their 4 attackers. So it really doesn't matter. If they had a flyer, we'd still be dead. Womp womp. Alright, well, we ended up going 6-3 in the end. We lost to a valiant effort, I suppose. Double Audacious Thief managing to get in some successful strikes was pretty grim. But we get ourselves a pack. We get 850 gems. We paid 750 to get into this event. So, yeah, we did pretty good. I enjoyed myself. Hopefully you guys did too. I think this is going to be... Oh, is this not gems? It's a wild card! Alright, I'm pretty sure M20 is all gems for me these days. So, glad to see a wild card. So at least it's better than that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for some more content like this in the future. Let me know how you've been doing in your own Omniscience drafts. But without further ado, I'm going to end it off here. Take care, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.